Hey everybody, welcome to another review. Today I'm going to be reviewing the comeback album from the hard rock new metal outlet Staind with Confessions of the Fallen. And this has been weird because Staind haven't done an album since 12 years. Their last album was self-titled, but it looked like Aaron Lewis, the lead singer, went solo, and I'd probably say that was kind of a bad decision, especially with the amount of times people have just digged him over at the concerts, just at these acoustic shows, just making noise and getting a rise out of him. Aaron Lewis is always going to be known as just this guy with a sensational ego in a way. I mean, they're going to see an acoustic show, but having to stop a lot of times just because people are cheering or saying something is a bit weird. But back into the actual band, the good thing I can say is I'm happy the political stuff has sort of been left out with this record. It's one of my personal strengths with this record, and you can honestly tell that if that's one of the best things, it's, in my opinion, not an album I personally enjoy that much. The problem with this record is how muddy the mixing is. There's so many points where the instrumentation just drops into the background, and sometimes the drums, the bass, the guitars, they just feel a bit distorted as it's all mixed together. It just doesn't come off as a healthy blend, and it honestly damages some of the songs, because I personally think some of the songs aren't too bad, but there's essences where it's just not very interesting. Another thing I'm personally not a huge fan of is Aaron Lewis's vocals. I don't mind Aaron Lewis's vocals, but some of the songs, like The Fray, is an example why I just don't like it. That was honestly one of the only things I didn't like, other than the electronic elements they're incorporating into a lot of the tracks. This was pretty heavy in the second track. Was any of it real? And you just hear snippets of it here and there to kind of give you that calmer verse delivery to then an explosive chorus. But the problem is, there's not really a song that has an explosive chorus. They all just feel very mellowed down, very bland and generic, and stuff that you would have heard before from a lot of other bands. Matter of fact, I even feel some of these choruses just remind me of bands like Zephyr and Nickelback. It honestly doesn't get much better from there. There are some tracks I personally think aren't too bad. I think there's some good gold on the second half of the record. I think Cycle of Hurting was one of the strongest efforts on this record. I think it had a good chorus. I think the song's great, and I think when it goes into a bit of a heavier direction with Staind, it's honestly not too bad. But for the most part, I just think of this album as a very weak attempt to try and capitalize on the sound that Break the Cycle had, which was a pretty substantial hit for Staind. It got #1 in the UK, US, and etc. It was huge, but this just feels like a sad attempt at trying to bring that back, and I don't think it's honestly a good sound, especially since they're trying to make it feel like the production is from an earlier point. That's one of the things I just don't get. There's some elements that definitely feel more modernized, but trying to go for that classic sound you had when you were more new metal, when you were at your prime, isn't something I would say is anything good. Another thing I just don't really get with this record is the ballads on here. Honestly, Here and Now just reminds me of So Far Away from Break the Cycle, and I guess they were trying to do another one of them. They're trying to make it a little bit more diverse, like that album was, where it had some, some more lively tracks, some more calmer ones, and Here and Now just, it literally reeks of that. It's unfortunate, because I just don't really care for this one. And then tracks like Better Days just reminds me of, well, I guess it's the song that kind of brought the Nickelback point up, because it does remind me of a Nickelback ballad. I don't even know why this album needs ballads, to be honest. I guess it fits with the songwriting, with a lot of the relationship impact that all these songs are pretty much coated with, but I just can't get into this record. I don't think it's a good record. I found elements of the songs to be good, but as a whole, there's not really one song outside of Cycle of Hurting that I think is consistent. I think the other songs, mixing is definitely one thing that dampens it, and even if it's not that, the songwriting isn't very good. For a Stained album, this is just a very, very mediocre mess. I don't really care for it. I'm going to give it a 2 out of 5. It's not the worst thing ever, but it's certainly not a great comeback album. I think it's quite disappointing. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, and see you guys in the next video.